Good morning and welcome in. It is Mornings in Meridian here on News Talk 102.1 WALT. Online at WALTmeridian.com. And, of course, we're doing that Facebook thing again this morning, WALT Talk Radio. Good morning, folks. Rob in with you, driving the bus, trying to avoid those good old-fashioned drunk bumps as we go along over these next 2 hours. And joining me this morning, there's two great things that come out of Tupelo. One of those, of course, has been the king, Elvis, and, well, the king of history, that being Toby Bates.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Wow.
What an intro.
Wow. The only time I've ever been mentioned the same sentence with Elvis is, his weight when he died and how I look now. So that's a great, thank you.
Peanut butter and nanner sandwiches.
But they were good.
They were good.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, 10 minutes into the hour, and we're rolling.
Oh, we are rolling. And I was thinking, on the drive down here this morning, I was thinking, what was going on in the world the last time I was here? The main thing that kept popping in my head was the Braves still had a chance at the World Series. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you're...
No, wait a minute.
Yep. That's right. And that's what's bad is there's nothing a Braves fan can blame it on. Well, Snicker changed the lineup.
You kind of get
the first game.
You kind of get used to it.
Yeah, but you want something to blame it on, and they just flat out beat us.
I just blame it on I'm used to it.
Is that right?
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Well, I was a fan in the 70s when they were out of the race, the pennant race by what? June?
Yeah, when there was extra beer being served in May.
That's right. But I did have a question. I always have a question to start the show with, and I wanted to ask you this. A few days ago, in the middle of the day, it got unexpectedly dark.
Yeah.
Really dark.
Yeah.
Now, tell me why that happened again.
That old eclipse.
So there was an eclipse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Well, my first thought was, after sitting at that table all day, the host of The View got up to stretch their legs.
Oh, no!
But, no, come on, See, it's a funny joke because they're really fat. Get it? No, I'm
and Toby comes out swinging
early. I'm talking about their big egos.
There we go.
Yeah. But no, it's great to be here, and one or two things happening in the world.
Yeah, there is a lot happening, and of course, we'll unpack it as usual. Israel, of course, still on the top of everybody's mind. The Speaker of the House race, I want to get your take on that because that is an absolute embarrassing mess right now. As far as local goes, we always are transparent here on Mornings in Meridian when it comes to what we're doing behind the scenes, and did send out a formal invitation yesterday to all of the candidates. I believe I got everybody on that list. I'll go through it again today and be sure I got everybody included. But we did send out formal invitations for candidates to appear on the show before the general election, and got some results on that so far that we'll share with you. We actually got one straight out decline of an invitation. So we'll talk about that on the show this morning.
Did they at least give a reason?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, excellent.
We'll get into that. And, of course, what happened with the Natalie Holloway deal yesterday. Of course, we talked about that briefly on the show yesterday, that Vandersloot was going to be in court yesterday in Birmingham at 9:30, and that really took a turn yesterday. So, of course, the extortion wire fraud case that he did plead guilty to and did get 20 years. But, of course, on the back end of that is what everybody's talking about this morning is he did admit to killing Natalie Holloway.
Right.
But I'm going to save the details on that because I kind of want to let the kids get in school, and
absolutely, because
it's pretty graphic details of what happened on that beach back in 2005. So, but I'm going to save that till we get the kids in the classroom this morning.
Absolutely,
for parents who got them in their car with them, because I think everybody needs to hear what happened from that standpoint that remembers that back in 2005. So, but of course, we all kind of rally behind Dave. Of course, Dave, local resident here, and I just hope the family got some closure yesterday with this, and we can only hope that there's no more details with this. Hopefully, this is the final period on this paragraph of this story, I hope.
Yeah, because it's unreal. You mentioned 2005. It is unreal how long it's been.
It has been.
And the fact that Natalie was of the age where, if she had had a child that year, that child would have been graduating high school. I mean, that's extraordinary. It's been that long.
That's unreal.
What I try to do in a situation like this is I try to follow the example of the family. Because, I know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And that little piece of, But at least he's found the Lord, all right? And I hope he has.
I hope he has too. Yeah, I hope he's changed his life and he's found his Lord and Savior, and he's asked for forgiveness. And you can only pray that that is the case.
That's right.
But still, the crimes are what they are.
They are, and like I said, I follow the family example. No matter how I feel, it's no way it can relate to how they feel. And,
Sure.
And so the mother and the father both were, talking about closure and had the information they needed. Because this guy has really tortured them and enjoyed it the last the last 18 years. So
well, and the I guess the tough pill to swallow about that case is he does admit to murdering Natalie Holloway,
right.
but there's nothing that can be done about it because the murder happened in Aruba, and there's a 12-year statute of limitations on a crime like that, and well, we all know that's not going to happen.
Right.
But he did get 20 years yesterday for the wire fraud and extortion, trying to extort money out of the family. He's already serving a 28-year sentence in Peru for a 21-year-old that he killed.
That's right.
Down in Peru, and now he's got this 20 kind of tacked on there. But it's going to, I think the way that Fox News described this morning is going to be kind of running continuously or something like that. But he's going to be in jail for a while.
Right.
I mean, he may not, I hope he doesn't see the light of day and he serves a good bit of time there, but yeah, it was definitely some closure yesterday. We'll get into more of the details on that coming up next hour. We got protest inside the Capitol as well, of course. Man, the protesting part of it is very, very stressful. College campuses.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to get your take on that as well. So, very busy show this morning. So, we got a phone call right out of the gate. Hey, caller, welcome in. Good morning. Okay, well, they don't want to talk to us
Again,
now. So.
I'll pay you, okay? I'll pay you. You don't have to keep doing
It's
this.
coming, I promise.
Well, while we have an opportunity, let's thank one of our sponsors here at Mornings in Meridian, that being Purvis Business Machines.
That's right.
And I tell you what, Jerry and Betty Purvis, good Americans, good local folks to do business with.
Remember the good old days when the employee would show up to work and sit over in the corner and do their job and do it well and do it quietly. Just about one of the few places you can find that today is if you get a machine from Purvis Business Machines. We have them all over campus. They're exactly what you need. I can't do what I do if I didn't have a Purvis Business Machine. And what we found was, especially during the pandemic, that a lot of businesses went home and a lot of people worked out of their homes. And they were realizing, I can't really transfer this job very well without having, the machinery that I had at the office. And so you go down, you talk to Jerry and Betty Purvis and Don Lucas, and you let them know, hey, this is what I do, right? And so they can help you find the machine that you need. And they're not going to wrench anything, sell you anything, show you anything that you do not need. And you can make a home office look just as nickel slick and just as professional as these big old buildings, these big old skyscrapers where the people in the starch shirts work. And the ones on campus we talked about before, I love running through this. They fax, they calculate, they copy, they email, they print, they fold, they shred for, you future politicians out there. They staple, they do just about everything but grade. And again, they're whisper quiet. They sit over in the corner, and you can depend on them every single day. So if you've got a business at home, or you're thinking about getting a business at home, or if you're just someone that really keeps up with every piece of paper that passes through your life, and you want to make sure that you have it top-notch and taken care of, Purvis Business Machine, 693-2679, 693-2679. Again, Purvis Business Machine.
All right, let's go back to the phone line. Good morning, caller. Welcome in.
Good morning. Leopard can't change his spots, son.
Oh, your phone is not very, very good this morning. We're getting a lot of...
Static?
Yeah, a lot.
Kinda.
It's not... Ooh, it's actually worse than it was the other day.
I ain't got no idea what in the world is going on. I changed phones because Roger gave me grief about it.
Yeah, it's got kind of a squishy noise, and we can barely hear you, so...
How about now? Is it any better?
No, right there.
There you are. Stay right there.
Hang on to that limb and don't let go. Well, no, it just got worse again.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I'll call you back in a couple of minutes.
There we go. Sounds good. Senior Chief checking in this morning. So, but yeah, sounded like somebody was like had a piece of rubber like going.
Well, I've mentioned him a few times on the show. I've got a friend I've known since, elementary school, not elementary, middle school, junior high, and he is just retired as a Secret Service agent. And he used to tell me, you hear anything strange on your phone, we're probably listening, But
They're listening, all right.
That sounded like something we used to do on the phone when we had a party line, and somebody was on the phone and they wouldn't get off. Well, we'd pick it up and make a little noise there, and
Well, I guess we can start out with Israel this morning, because it's the first show we've had Toby on since all of this has been going down. We've been covering it a pretty good bit, along with the national shows after we get off the air, and of course Fox News. But the protesting part of this, these college campuses, I mean, good grief, man. I mean, are you serious?
Yeah,
the way all of this is going about, especially at Harvard.
Harvard, that's right. These are schools that were first founded for religious reasons. Boy, how far we've come, right?
Yeah, right.
What tickles me about it, and when I say tickled, I mean what I find ironic, is the fact that, this has been going on. This geopolitical stuff's been going on since 1948. Israel became a nation. This Jew, Muslim, Arab Jew has been going on for centuries. Mm-hmm. And yet these 21-year-olds have figured it out. They have figured it out. They can't tell me what a woman is.
Right.
But they figured out this.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. But we see this. We a lot of this is ignorance.
Yeah.
And that ignorance is not stupidity, right? But a lot of it's will for ignorance. They're willing to be that way. A lot of it's manipulation. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it's just a bunch of stupidity, just to be honest with you.
Well, the stupidity part of it was yesterday, I think. I mean, the protesting's been going on for several days now, but Omar, Congressman Omar, sits out there yesterday in front of the Capitol with protesters, basically crying crocodile tears about what happened to the hospital, the Palestinian hospital. But you don't want to get all of the facts before you go out there and cry these big tears. And she was basically blaming Israel for the whole thing, like every other media outlet was doing yesterday, from the New York Times to CNN on the way down. But there's so many layers to that. And I always like to use that because there's so many layers to a story, especially that one. Mm-hmm. There was intelligence saying that, the jihad did this. Right. The rocket was from them. Mm-hmm. Israelis did not do this, and it didn't blow the hospital up like it was it was minor damage to the hospital. Some cars got burned up, and there was very little fatalities in this, but it came from, in the words of our president, the other team, which I thought was odd yesterday.
I thought, and I can't help it. It's a knee-jerk reaction, Rob. My first thought was, what if Trump had said this?
Oh, he would be absolutely just annihilated for it.
You think this is a sporting event? You think this is funny kind of type? No, I think, I did a little research, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took, they hide information in things like books.
Oh, yeah.
And things like that.
It's amazing how that works.
And I understand a lot of people don't have time for that, but these Harvard kids do. It's not like they're working at McDonald's and then go taking their classes, right? Not all of them. Do you know that anywhere from 25 to 35% of the rockets that are launched from Hamas, and this has been in this particular element in 2014, 2008, 2007, that 25 to 35% of these rockets, because most of them are homemade.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
They do not only make it out of Gaza, they fall in Gaza.
And the thing about it is, they have a recording of two of the members of this terrorist group. Mm-hmm. Of course, you have to read the transcript of it because they're speaking, obviously, not English. Right. And they're basically saying, well, there's no shrapnel that would represent Israel. This is all us.
Yes. I
mean, just very detailed in what they were saying to each other. And they kind of paused several times during the conversation. And it was like, wow, this really happened, huh? But until all of the facts come out, that's right. Just like anything else, just like with the Jussie Smollett stuff, until all the facts came out. Every story like this, until all the facts come out, a lot of folks jump to conclusions immediately.
Well, it's the same thing with Michael Brown. The hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah.
And once it comes out that wasn't true, what gets obscured is that we do, at times, have problems with police going above their authority. So what happens now with people jumping and saying, this was a Hamas rocket, they weren't waiting on the facts, And you didn't do this. You did it right. What gets obscured is that something hit the hospital.
Yeah.
Some people did die and get hurt.
Sure.
And the citizens that are being held hostage by Hamas, right? That is a tragedy. Okay, but that even gets obscured because what happens is, you point more to the lie.
Yeah.
And to what's going on. But again, I have to point to the fact that what we have going on right now is a centuries-old problem meets 21st century social media.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so waiting for the facts. And that's what's sad. And you'll see this if you'll listen to interviews with people like Tom Brokaw and Dan Rather and Peter Jennings before he passed away. They were lamenting what has happened to the news. It used to be, you'd have to have two sources before you could go with the story.
Isn't it amazing that you brought up social media? It's amazing from a national level, even all the way down to a local level. Folks jump to conclusions immediately.
Yes.
And don't let this whole thing unfold. And I think a lot of our local law enforcement would agree with me on that, too.
Oh, my God.
Let's let some stuff play out first before we jump on a phone and type out or put a video out. Before we get all of the facts first, please.
There's a reason our grandparents...
I love how that works.
Yes, and there's a reason our grandparents and parents used to tell us, before you respond, write a letter.
There you go.
Right? But instead, we're going to respond right away in text.
Yeah.
And more times than not, we're like, I shouldn't have written that.
I shouldn't have done that. That's right. Let's go back to the phone for another try here. Hey, caller, good morning. No. Like I said, they're going to track you down eventually. So.
Well, what's sad is it's not the same people.
There you go.
I mean, I owe a lot of folks.
So, but and of course the squad. I'm so sick of the squad. I mean, with Omar, like I said, she was out there yesterday just crying these big old crocodile tears.
Right.
Of what happened to the hospital and whatnot until she got all of the facts, and she probably had all the facts anyway, and still did it because of the effect. Because let's face it, a lot of this, too, has to do with, okay, if we fire this rocket and we believe it's going to do what we think it's going to do,
right,
that's going to send a ripple effect over to the United States because of the protesting.
Sure.
These people aren't dumb.
No.
They know how to pull the strings of everything, and they probably knew if this happens, then we already see the protesting happening in America right now because this war is playing out on national television all day long.
That's right.
I mean, literally all day long. A 24-hour news cycle is being covered with Israel. They know what's going on.
Sure.
So they're like, we see them protesting over there. So if we do this and the rocket doesn't exactly go where we're going to think it's going to go and it's going to hit this, then that's going to send a ripple effect into America. Divide America even more than it already is divided. So.
Well, it's interesting to me how Israel drops leaflets to say, leave. They send messages out to people in buildings saying, time to go. You got, about an hour. You need to get out of there. And, of course, the bad guys are getting that, too. But we mentioned social media. The one positive out of social media is that we can see exactly what Hamas did. They wanted us to see it. They wore the cameras. Yeah. Right? They wanted us to see what they did. And so, again, I don't want to say if any good's coming out of this. I wish I was more articulate, but I will tell you, Ronald Reagan once said, don't be afraid to see what you see. Mm-hmm. And I know certain people want to say evil doesn't exist. It's a social construct. It's not really real. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does exist. Sometimes it walks on two legs. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, people are showing you right now who they really are. Hamas is showing you what they really are. The members of our government are showing you who they really are.
Oh, gosh.
The students are showing you who they really are at this moment. Mm-hmm. Even though the ones that are being led by their nose, right, they're being shown. They're showing us. Don't be afraid to see what we're seeing.
Absolutely. 601-485-9191 is our number. Let's thank our friends down on Frontage Road in Meridian, that being Battery One Source. Right. I had a battery out on me not too long ago, and of course, Battery One Source got me back on the road real fast.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't always give you a warning, though.
No.
Yep. And a lot of folks were talking a few weeks ago when the weather finally got cool. They're like, I think somebody came through my driveway and let the air out of my tires. No. You can lose up to 5 and 7 pounds if the weather changes. Yep. And people think the battery will give you a warning like that too. But if your battery's already a little weak, a little tired, excessive heat, excessive cold can make that thing not work. And I want you to think about something, folks. You're hearing my voice right now. You're seeing me on television. Those who didn't pay the fee are seeing us in black and white. That's a different story. But I want you to think about something. When you leave in the morning, when you get in your car to go anywhere, we feel like we're in a hurry.
Oh, yeah.
Even if we have all the time in the world, we feel like we're in a hurry.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And when you put the key in and you turn it, and your mind tells you something's a little off because you're not hearing the ding, ding, and the radio's not blaring where you left it on and everything. And then the key goes all the way, and your battery's dead. And you think right then how many times you thought, I needed to get this checked. I need to go by and see John Dufour in the group at Battery One Source. Don't let that happen to you. Go to 2618 North Frontage Road before you have that problem. They'll test your battery. They'll let you know real quick how it's doing. 9 times out of 10, they'll say your battery's fine. You know, just give us a call when you have a problem, right? Or give us a call if it's running a little weak. But not only batteries, they also have parts. They have the cables, the maintainers, the connectors, the battery tenders. So don't turn the key and nothing happened. Don't let that happen to you. 693-1500 Battery One Source.
All right, we're going to take a break and get back to more of your phone calls. And, yeah, as long as you swing on the right tree limb, we'll get you on the air. 601-485-9191. Yeah, sometimes just hanging on to that one limb will help you a little bit. So we'll be back in just minutes.
Yo, Paulie. What happened to your eye?
I hit it.
Why?
Needed to.
What happened?
I'm celebrating, Rock.
Why?
I retired.
Retired? Yeah? So when they start giving retiring people meat instead of watches, Paulie?
I don't need a watch. I got a watch. You give me a watch.
Paulie.
That's Burt Young, of course, from the Rocky franchise. Lost him just a few hours ago at the age of 83.
83.
Wow. Paulie, of course, was nominated for an Oscar once upon a time as well, and boy, just played that part to an absolute T in all of the Rocky movies. So,
And right before that scene you played, you know, he comes in and sees Rocky's new dog. What an ugly dog.
ugly dog.
I think one of my, of course, that's a clip from the, I guess you would say, the newer Rocky movie they came out with several years ago, where Rocky steps back into the ring one last time in that exhibition fight against the champion. But there was another line I loved in that movie, because in that last Rocky movie, of course, Stallone owns the restaurant that's named after his late wife in the movie, of course, Adrian. And Rocky tells him, we're about to serve today's special. And Burt Young says Italian food cooked up by a bunch of Mexicans isn't really special.
That's right.
And I was like, God, what a lie.
That's right.
I was like, jeez.
601-485-9191. But yeah, we lost a good one in Burt Young. So he passed away earlier today, or earlier this morning, rather, at 83. So, hey, caller, welcome in.
My good morning, true American patriot.
I think Kaz might have got tickled on that one.
Yeah, I was listening to your Battery One source, and I thought, don't be a dumb bunny.
Don't be a dumb bunny.
Don't be a dumb bunny. But, you know, this whole thing in the Middle East just gets more bizarre by the minute.
Yeah.
And, you know, here it is. Israel makes a strike or whatever. Oh, man, this is inhumane. This is a war crime. What about the babies that were burned alive and beheaded? Was that not a war crime? Were the Israeli babies and who's ever that, were they any more important? And here's our I can't use a word that I want to use, of course, but wants to give $100 million humanitarian aid to Gaza.
Yeah.
But we ain't got any money for the VA. We ain't got any money for real Americans to help them or infrastructure or to stop the influx of illegal aliens, which are some are coming here to do harm to America, I'm sure. But we hadn't got any money for that. But here's the deal about the war and the collateral damage. This comes right from the gospel according to the book of Hass. Don't care. Don't care. They need to be annihilated, destroy their sources of water, their electrical power, their food sources, patrol the seaside, anything that is coming there to bring them help. I don't care if it's a rowboat full of nuns. You think it. Destroy the enemy. Completely.
I'm sorry. You know, I'm trying to listen to the caller. I'm trying to, but you give me these mental images. Rowboat full of nuns. I get
That's
stuck
right.
on that a little bit.
And, you know, anything that's aid and comfort to the enemy, no matter what it is, where it comes from, now they become the enemy. You've chosen sides, and you have chosen the side of our enemy. So guess what? The consequences are the same. But this is, you know, here Biden, stumbling, mumbling Biden goes over there. That's the last thing they needed. And the United Nations and the Pope and all these people weighing in on this. This is nothing to you. It wasn't your people that got killed. Let that country take care of what it needs to take care of.
And he's sitting there reading off a note card yesterday in front of Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been a marvelous leader for Israel. And then the other Arab leaders won't even meet with him. That just shows you how weak we've become around the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And here, this $100 million, just like Coke change in your pocket, let the petrochemical countries, they're all Muslim, let them help the people of Gaza. If they want to help them, they love them so much, Egypt won't take them, Lebanon won't take them, nobody wants them.
Yep.
But America will drag them over here so they can do that over here. Don't take anything over here that comes from there. Oh, they're innocent people. As compared to what? They all believe the same thing. Whether they're out there in active military role or whether they're in a role making something or aiding the enemy or whatever, take it to the ground. Total and complete destruction. And this humanitarian aid, this is such a joke. And like these people up there protesting and all, hey, look, y'all want to side with them? You need to be over there. You need to be deported. You need to be over there. You need to give up your American citizenship if you are over here legally, and you need to go back over there and fight for the home team.
How about the face mask, Has? I mean, if you believe in something so much, why are you obscuring your face with a mask?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and, you know, here these people, they don't have any problems with terrorism and conducting terror. And then, you know, everybody wants to hold Israel and America, too, when we're in conflict, to the higher standard of warfare. What are we fighting, some kind of Sunday school-approved war? Who in the rules are for fools, because your enemy doesn't follow any of these hocus-pocus, let's all be cool rules.
Well, as you recall, right after the attack happened, a couple days afterwards, Hamas said, we're open to talk about a truce here because we've accomplished what we set out to do.
That's
They're
right.
openly
That's exactly
admitting.
right.
They're openly admitting what they did.
That's exactly right. Now they want to call the hounds of hell off their ass so they can regroup and do it again at a later date. See, and as soon as the retaliation starts, oh, we're ready to talk truce now. We're ready to negotiate. I'll tell you where they talk truce. Let them talk truce in hell. Kill every living, breathing thing there and feel good about it. Roger that. You're helping the world. These are not children of God like all these God's children. No, they are not. Take them out. Roger that.
Still want to go back to the boat full of nuns.
That's either, I get his point, but the boat full of nuns either sounds like a great punchline to a joke or the great beginning of a joke. Yeah. And Has, very emotional, very, very passionate because he believes what he believes and he backs it up, But then he'll throw you a garlic milkshake or boat full of nuns. And it throws me off, But the thing I want to point out here, too, and I'm not broad brushing. I don't want to be as guilty as what I'm seeing every single day, right?
Yeah.
Painting with such a broad brush. But a lot of the politicians who are putting so much pressure on Israel and trying to have this moral equivalency of, warning you before we hit a building and then, again, what we saw in the nurseries. If you'll go back and these same politicians, okay, because people are saying to them, what about the Israeli babies? If you go back and look at some of these politicians' comments, you'll find out they don't really care about babies wherever they are. And you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Let's go back to the phone line here at Mornings of Meridian. Hey, caller, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Is Roger there this morning? I just turned it on.
Roger is not here. He'll be back Monday.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I'd get you laughing because I was talking to my buddy up in North Carolina, and he said some comedian on the either TV, I guess TV or radio. I think it's radio. He's listening one morning. And said they compared Biden to a Roomba because he turns around, he's bumping into this, and he backs up, and he bumps into that, and he backs up, and he goes around.
I mean, God almighty.
And he sucks.
Biden the Roomba.
Yeah, and he sucks, yeah.
Well, it's like I said earlier this morning. He had his on Air Force One yesterday when he took some questions from reporters. He had his Mitch McConnell moment yesterday,
Yeah.
where he just kind of stared into space, and you got the Secretary of State and all the advisors behind him, and the looks on their face were like, "Oh my God, would you please walk away?
Yeah.
If you can walk away."
Yeah.
In the right direction.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would tell him to speak up because he sounds just like old men sound like. It's like, man, it is scary that is the leader of the free.
And that is a guy that got more votes than Obama. Isn't that amazing?
Well, it is amazing. I'm glad somebody believes it because I never will. I just when you go home and sit in your basement, do you really expect to win an election by not? And then Trump draws thousands at his rallies. Beats. I don't know. It just kind of goes against what you see. My lying eyes deceive me. But
Caller,
I thought the Rumba was pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a great one. I'm going to steal it and act like I made it up. But but keep in mind also that throughout history, the quickest way to encourage an aggressor is to act weak, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And the fact is, we have two major wars going on right now, right?
That's right.
And we have Israel sending out a tweet, not Israel, Iran sending out a tweet yesterday saying time's up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so and then you hear last week that our Army is at the lowest state it's been since 1940. And that following year got kind of interesting, 1941. And so I'm not one of these doom and gloom people. There's more than enough people out there, saying that. But the fact is, we've got the Gerald Ford already there. We're sending the Eisenhower. It's this is a very interesting time to live in.
I'll tell you what's interesting is we're more concerned about the world than our own damn border down there.
Amen to that.
You got 10,000 plus people coming across. They're gonna have to go somewhere, y'all. And don't be surprised if we see more and more people around here that ain't from here, because they're going to have to put them somewhere. But 10,000 a day, buddy, that adds up, and that's just a conservative estimate.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Well, here's what's scary.
And that was ironic about what you brought up about the babies when they're all pro-abortion.
And these are not South American folks. These are folks from all over the world that are coming over that border.
I guess they've got to be born and growing up to get a concern from the pro-abortionists. I don't know, but that is kind of ironic. Now we're concerned about them.
But think about this. Not only historically, just think about people in your life that you've run into in your life. If you allow yourself to hear, people will tell you their intentions. They will tell you flat out what they're about. And again, don't be afraid to hear that and see that. And what worries me a little bit is that, what's not really being reported is that there were thousands of Palestinians on work visas who would go into Israel, work a job, and go back into Gaza, right? Those aren't the folks that attacked. The folks that attacked, flew over the wall, busted through the wall, and such as that. So what about the thousands that we've allowed through on the border? Right, and the fact that we're finding Qurans, we're finding, and so who's to say they're not cells that are set up throughout the country, and one day they're suddenly going to,
Yeah, how many of those folks from Iran have come over?
It's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll have had time to set up and do what they have planned, because it's just free for all down there. So you come one, come all. If I was a border agent, I would have quit a long time ago. Like, what's the point? I need to find something else to do.
I imagine a lot of them have.
No, I'm sure they have. It's got to be discouraging going to work every day. So, well, what do we do today? Well, we show up and watch everybody come across.
Yeah, just set up a lawn chair and watch.
What else is there to do?
Yeah, you're right.
Because one other thing I wanted to point out. I was going to say, you can really learn a lot by just listening to what people have to say. You can learn a lot about what that person is without saying a word. So. Well, y'all have a good day. I've got to skedaddle to work. I've got to drop the dog off at the vet first, and off we go. And y'all have a good day. I'm listening to this, and I missed the gospel according to Haz this morning.
Appreciate you.
One thing I bet there was fire and brimstone and snakes being passed around.
There you go.
If you're a man, you can take this snake,
Have a good day,
Have a good
okay?
one.
All right, bye. 601-485-9191. And before we take our next break, I just want you to know, here at 10 minutes until 8 o'clock here on October the 19th, 2023, Rob agrees with John Fetterman.
Wow.
John Fetterman issued some statements yesterday in support of Israel on Wednesday, in which he struck down calls for a ceasefire and questioned those who blamed the deadly hospital blast in Gaza on Israel. So there is one person up on the Hill that is a Democrat that actually spoke out. He said, and this is the statement he put out. Of course, everybody goes to X now, or Twitter. And he basically said, it's truly disturbing that members of Congress were quick to take the word of Hamas, who blamed the death of hundreds of at a Gaza hospital on an Israeli airstrike over our key ally. That's from John Fetterman.
Well, see what happens when you wear big boy clothes?
Now, not saying that John Fetterman typed that.
Right.
But,
Right.
That's the issue from his office, at least.
But look what happens when you dress like a professional, you know, and not a church basketball coach.
Right.
You know, nothing wrong with that, but, you know, don't dress that way when you're in Congress.
But he made statements all day yesterday, basically hammering members of Congress for saying, hey, we need to stand with Israel. And what you're doing by blaming this on Israel and not getting all the facts. I mean, he went on throughout the day saying this, and I'm like, well, at least somebody gets it of all people.
Right.
John Fetterman.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I'll give him that much. At least, I mean, I totally agree with him on that. So yeah, don't like steer off the road and hit a telephone pole. But I said I agree with John Fetterman. It was just that one thing. Okay, so
The moral courage that took for you to do that.
I know. I feel like I gotta go take a bath now. All right, we're going to take a break here on Mornings in Meridian. We'll take more of your phone calls at 485-9191 after we pay off these important bills. No particular reason, just wanted to. Little Eddie Rabbit here on Mornings in Meridian. About 5 minutes away from the top of the hour, we'll have some local news on the way, along with Fox News, obviously, and we'll check in with angry Sean Hannity as well with his Morning Minute. But first, before we get into that break, let's thank our friends down at Trucker Supply. And, of course, you hear us talk a lot about truckers and Milwaukee tools and everything else they have here. But tomorrow is a huge day at Truckers.
It's a big one.
They got the vendor showcase. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute, but Truckers is the place to go for all your tools.
It is, and especially if you're looking for a tool that one of those 5-in-1 or 6-in-1, and Truckers, when you tell your wife you'll go shopping with her, or you tell your husband you'll go shopping with them, there's an excitement from that other person. And how I used to play it was I'd tell Kathy, by the time we worked over to near Sam's Club, because Truckers was right in front of Sam's Club, I would say, hey, why don't you just drop me off here? And by then I had carefully and very much through planning had made myself really annoying in the car, singing with the radio, talking about maybe changing churches. Has she ever thought about joining a gym? I'd said all the wrong things. So she was more than happy to drop me off at Truckers because that's a place to walk the shelves. Yeah. I mean, and you mentioned Milwaukee Tools. I mean, that is just one of the many brands they've got there. And these tools will last 40 forevers. And when my kids started driving, I went to Truckers and I got them one of those cobalt kind of flashlights that makes night to day. Mm-hmm. And then one of those air pumps for the car they can keep in the trunk.
That's big time.
Right? And it's got the what are those things called? You hook up to the battery. Jumper cables. Thank you so much. I got the one in PDHs. And it was such a kind of a one-stop shopping kind of thing. And if you ever play Dirty Santa or things like that, it's a great place to go for a great value to get tools. And so don't take our word for it. Go by Trucker Supply right now and see them. They're open. They've been around since 1969, started by the Carr family. They still are committed to the old-fashioned service that you think's all gone bye-bye. And again, they're right there by McDonald's, down from the Snow Cone Place, 519 Highway 19 South. Tomorrow, we'll have a special guest, right?
Yeah, we're going to have Alex from Trucker Supply coming by to see us at 7:30. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow is their big vendor showcase. They're going to have 15 vendors, and you can take advantage of exclusive show specials on brands like Milwaukee, Knipex, and Streamlight. They're going to have food.
That's right.
They got lunch.
That's right.
They're going to start serving food there at 11, and they're going to have it there until they run out. And they're going to have some live music there as well. The Jimmy Rogers Talent winner, Trey Shaw, will be there. It's going to be a great time there at Trucker Supply, of course, 519 Highway 19 South. Now, the vendor showcase will be from 10 until 3 tomorrow.
That's right, 10 till 3. And plenty of time to go by there. And, again, they'll sell you the tools you need. They'll sell you the tools that you need, and you can learn how to use them, right? Mm-hmm. And if you think you need a particular tool and you tell them what you're dealing with, they'll sell you another tool that's quite often quite cheaper, right? Yeah. They're great folks. They're great old-fashioned service. Go by and see them. Again, give them a call at 693-2316. 693-2316, Trucker Supply.
And these products right here, Yeti.
That's right.
Oh, I love my Yeti mug.
And we've all backed over our Yeti mug.
Yeah.
And our Yeti cooler, Yeti cooler. And it doesn't break or bend.
No, it does not. So.
No.
We're going to take a break here on Mornings in Meridian, and when we come back, we still got a lot to get into during the second hour. Of course, we forgot to mention, I know you're looking forward to this, Biden will address the nation tonight at 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. An actual primetime address. Usually his speeches are in the middle of the day, but this is kind of a rare deal that he's actually going to speak in prime time tonight.
Yeah, that vitamin E is something else, isn't it?
It really is. It'll get you going. And also, we'll get into more of the Natalie Holloway story. Yeah. I'm going to read some of the I guess you would say, the testimony yesterday from Vandersloot. That's pretty graphic details, so we kind of wanted to save that for the 8 o'clock hour. Mm-hmm. And plus, we've got some invitations sent out to local candidates we'll talk about as well, and one declined us. So Indeed. We'll get into that coming up after 8 here on Mornings in Meridian. welcome back in. It is Mornings in Meridian. 601-485-9191 is our talk line. We'd love to hear from you here on the second hour of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama, of course, all around the world at WALTmeridian.com, and even doing that Facebook thing. Yeah, WALT Talk Radio. Hey, I'm on Facebook, Mom. So, yeah, go like us and follow us there. And we also have some very exciting things in the works coming very, very soon that I will be telling you about.
Yeah, we can't talk about that yet, can we?
Yeah, that's one of those government secrets. So we have some even more ways for you to connect to the station here very soon. So we're just getting out there.
Can I mention something real fast?
Yeah, come on.
Just real fast.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back. I appreciate you having me back on. A couple of things here. We're coming up on the 44th anniversary with everything as we've been talking about nationally. I know we're going to turn to more local with Natalie Holloway, and then and I'm going to brag on you. You don't like when I do this, but folks, Rob works so hard. The entire crew here at WALT, but Rob works so hard to get these local politicians on here, so you guys can call and talk to them. They work for you. And they also should be, beholden to you, and you should be able to get in touch with them and ask them questions and things like that. But what we've been talking about nationally, I wanted to point out, we're coming up on the 44th anniversary of Iran taking the hostages.
Wow.
Originally, it was like 66. It got whittled down to like 52. But you remember that November 4th of 1979. And then today, of all days, is the 22nd anniversary of the ground war beginning in Afghanistan.
Wow.
The official ground war beginning.
And now we've got this going on.
That's right. And some people are saying that some of the weapons Hamas are using, they've borrowed from their buddies in Afghanistan, that we left behind in our orderly and measured withdrawal. So anyway, it's just, as an historian, I can't help it but go, to concentrate on dates. Because when you like history and you're in high school, that's about the only dates you're going to get. And you, especially when you have an afro and play the tuba. But no, November 4th, 1979, we're coming up on the 44th anniversary. And as you remember, they kept those hostages 444 days.
Yeah.
And then today is actually the anniversary of the ground war beginning in Afghanistan, which is very much still in the news. So it kind of puts things in perspective, like how long are we going to continue to deal with these issues before we step up and handle them the way that, we used to handle things in the past.
Yeah, tonight is going to be very interesting. I think we all know what to expect with the address to the nation from President Biden. Of course, I was talking about this during the break with you. He's going to speak in the Oval Office tonight. And it's something about a president speaking in the Oval Office to the nation. I don't know why, whatever your feelings are about Biden, I kind of flush that for a moment. I want my president to give a national speech in that office. There's something just, to me, is just appropriate.
Right.
And this is a very big tipping point right now. We always talk about that big tipping point in history. Well, this is right now a big moment because we know what he's going to say tonight, I think, for the most part. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of Israel talk tonight. Unfortunately, we talked about the aid this morning, the $100 million, and that's going to happen. But Ukraine is more than likely going to be in the conversation tonight, too. So we have all these wars going on overseas. But I say all that to say this, but we talked about the border here at home and all the issues we've got going on here at home because we can't even elect a deadgum Speaker of the House.
That's right. That's right. But I love what you just said, Rob. You said my president. Because there are people on the left that could not bring themselves to say that about President Trump.
I'll be honest with you. I did not vote for President Biden, yeah, shocker, right?
Shocker!
But that is the individual who represents the United States of America. No ifs, ands, or buts. I know you kind of roll your eyes when you say that, but unfortunately, where you think the election was stolen or whatever you want, it is what it is, and that's who's going to be speaking tonight, representing the United States as the president. So.
And we can disagree with his policies. And
absolutely.
We can make fun of him when he dribbles rice pudding down his lip.
Or sing happy birthday the wrong way.
That's exactly right. Or shake hands with Ghost. But gets lost on a stage. But he's still the president, and there's respect for the office.
Absolutely.
And so you're right. A Oval Office address after return from a war zone, that's important.
It really is. So, but that address will be at 7 o'clock tonight. Obviously, all the networks are going to carry it. Cable news, I mean, it's going to be everywhere tonight. So, and we'll break more of that down tomorrow because we were talking about this earlier. Will it be live or will it be pre-recorded?
That's right.
I mean, it is a safe assumption to put that on the table.
Yes.
Is it going to be a live address or is it going to be pre-recorded?
That's right.
So
That's fair to say.
I mean, and of course, you get the conspiracy theorist out there be like, well, is that really going to be Biden speaking tonight? Is that going to be some Hollywood studio they're going to be broadcasting from? So
Deep faker, they're getting pretty good at that.
yeah, they really are.
Yep.
They really are.
Yep.
So 601-485-9191. This portion of Mornings of Meridian is brought to you by Premier Paint and Body, folks. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. You're going to get an offender bender. We've all been there. You get rear-ended maybe, or you might need some automotive glass replacement or whatever it might be, and the place to go is to go see Danny Shelton and his staff. I would say at this point, well over 100 years combined service down there at Premier.
Absolutely. You know, and not everyone grew up like I did around a 1972 Chevrolet Impala or a 1973 LTD where the car was so big it existed in two different time zones.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you got a dent or just some slight damage, you didn't worry about it too much. But the way these cars are made today, especially structurally for safety, if that car is compromised in any way with a dent or some misalignment or whatever, it may not do what it's supposed to do to protect your family and the appearance of the vehicle as well when it comes to resale and things like that. And what's amazing is that Premier Paint and Body can make it look brand new. I mean, they really can.
It's unreal.
You know. And it's a what's kind of fun is when it's a car they bring down there that belonged to a parent or maybe even a grandparent,
right?
And the paint job and the body work and it looks just like it did when the grandparent or parent had it, and it's kind of an emotional thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and those stories are out there. So if you have a vehicle that needs some work, go by and get a free estimate. They're not going to do anything to the car or the truck that you don't need done. And the experts they have down there, folks. They just honestly can make you feel safe in that vehicle again and can also bring it back some great memories. So give them a call, 482-7246. They're open right now, 482-7246. They're right down there by Johnson Dodge. And again, Danny Shelton, that great gang, and because they're great themselves, Premier Paint and Body.
All right, once again, our number is 601-485-9191. Whatever's on your mind, we want to hear from you. Of course, we're going to get into more of the Natalie Holloway story from yesterday coming up shortly. But yesterday, Toby, I did send out a formal invitation to our local candidates to appear here on the program. And just going to read the email to you folks out there because I think it's all fair. You know me, I like to let folks know what's going on behind the scenes here. I just said, hello, candidates. I would like to formally invite each of you to appear on WALT 102.1 FM in the near future to discuss your campaign for the office you are seeking in November. We have had some of you on the show in the past and some we have not. It'll be a simple 30-minute interview on our station that simply presents your campaign to our listening audience. Please let us know when you would be available to make an appearance on our station. We would also love to have competing candidates on together at some point to have a forum or with our callers if you'd be interested in doing so. Please reach out to me by email or you can call me at the number below. Thanks again for your time. And, of course, sign my name there at the bottom. I did get some phone calls from some candidates. I did talk to Justin J.J. Anders yesterday afternoon. He has agreed to come on. We will have him on next Wednesday at 7:30. And then I talked to Mr. John Temple. Of course, he is running for District 5 Supervisor as a Democrat. He will be on the show next Thursday at 8. And also was swapping some messages with Jesse Coach Hill, who is running for that Justice Court seat, I believe it's District 1, against Nick Lisi. He's the Democrat. He has agreed to come on the program Tuesday, October 31st at 7:30. And also he said if his opponent agrees to have an open forum between them, he is all for that.
Perfect.
So we did hear from them, but we did hear back. So those are the candidates I have heard from that have said yes.
Okay.
I did hear from one candidate that has said no. And I'm just going to simply read the response that I got from Mr. Gerald Johnson. He is running for sheriff of Lauderdale County as the Democrat against Ward Calhoun, who won the very competitive Republican primary.
Right.
Mr. Johnson said, "Thank you for the invite, sir. We are not interested in any type of debate or discussion. Our position is law and order only."
Okay, so that's okay. So All right, let me get this right in my head, okay? So he says no, Johnson, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's not interested in discussion or debate.
Yeah.
Okay, so discussion would be, I guess, a single visit. Debate would be,
Yeah,
with
if we had Ward on.
Ward here. Discussion or debate.
Yeah.
It said or, not discussion. And okay.
Yeah, and it said we are not interested in any type of debate or discussion. Our position is law and order only.
Well, I like that TV show too, but oh, you're so good. I should have known.
I mean, I love Law and Order too.
Man. So, okay, so again, you know, anyone that throws their hat in the ring, I kind of throw them a little respect because they're putting themselves through this, money out of pocket, putting their family through it.
That was set up pretty good.
Yeah,
I think.
that was, yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in Law and Order only too. I love it.
That's why you're in the tall chair.
The taller chair.
The taller chair, that's right. But
He's so mean.
But that is not even interested in coming on and just talking about why they want to be sheriff and maybe some of the ideas they have other than law and order.
I think that Mornings of Meridian has been extremely fair to all of the candidates that have come on this program, whether they be Republican or Democrat. And just to be fair, if you're worried about party affiliation, I don't think party affiliation really matters to me in local politics.
Right.
Because we vote more for the individual in local races, I think, for the most part, especially the county races. Don't get me wrong on that. But Mr. Hill technically is a Democrat. Mr. Andrews is a Republican. And Mr. Temple's a Democrat. So we heard from more Democrats yesterday than we heard from Republicans yesterday. And but I just figured in transparency, to be fair to our listening audience, the invitation was sent out, and that was a response that we got from one of the candidates.
And like I was saying, this is a big deal. Throw your hat in the ring, put your family through it, yourself through it.
Yeah.
Time, all this. And, we are a show that goes 7 to 9.
Yeah.
So if you're going to appear on here, you're going to be getting up kind of early in the morning, and these candidates have jobs and other things to do. So my hat's off to all the people that said, "You betcha, I'll come by," and I'm sure Ward will too. He's been a guest here many times.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. So,
but it's the wording of that discussion or debate. If you don't want to debate Ward Calhoun on the air,
that's fine.
But coming in and bragging on yourself and saying, and, when I say bragging on yourself, I mean outline why you're running for this job and what you're going to do and how you're going to change things. Not interested in doing that. So where is he doing that at?
Your guess is as good as mine.
So how are people going to get to know him? How people are, going to...
In all fairness to Mr. Johnson, during the primary season, and I think a lot of voters, I should say, got one of these in the mail. I remember getting one. It was about a 2-page deal that he had sent out to voters here in Lauderdale County. That was during the primary season to kind of introduce his campaign, to let you know who he was.
Oh, good.
And so he did send that out.
Okay.
So kind of his background or whatnot, and he did send that out. It was in the mailbox. I mean, it was during when we all were getting all that mail during primary season.
Right.
Thanks, Delbert and Chris. And but he did send something like that out, and I've seen some campaign signs out in the community. Not many, but there's a few sprinkled out there, which there's not as many as there were, thank God. But but yeah, when I got that yesterday, I was like, okay, I mean, this program, we're not in the business of trying to set somebody up and to put those gotchas out there.
No,
I think we've been extremely fair to everybody that has sat in these chairs, and we've done interviews, and simply it would be a 30-minute, let's get to know who you are, why are you running, what can be done to maybe improve, or maybe what would you change? I mean, that's basically all it would be. So
yeah, and when by using those particular words, intentionally or not, you're kind of setting yourself up. And again, this might not have been the intention.
Yeah.
Of saying, well, you can't handle a couple of goobers on the radio.
I know, right?
And or people who call in. So how are you going to handle the problem?
And I'm going to be honest with you too. I live in District 5.
Right.
And I talked to Mr. Temple yesterday. Very good conversation. It was a very brief conversation, but we talked for a few moments. And I let him know, hey, I'm a District 5 voter, and I would like to get to know you because, well, I could be one of your constituents.
Right.
Maybe down the road if you were to win. And he was like, really? So he was like, man, I get to come to the station and do an interview and meet somebody that I might need to get their vote. So
And with Mr. Johnson, I can understand if he's thinking, I want to concentrate just on the issues. And, we got some serious problems, and I just, I'm going to decline at this time. But here's where I'll be speaking. If you want to get to know me, maybe you could broadcast this. But otherwise, it was just no.
Well, and the reason I like to do an email type deal because I want to have a paper trail of every candidate that we do talk to via email. And like I said, we've got all of that through the primary season as well. And it's not the first time we've been declined an interview, but at least we did hear from him, unlike some other folks in the past.
Yeah,
I'll give him that much.
Yeah, he didn't just drop you in what's it called? What do young people say? Ghost you? Is that what it is?
We got ghosted a lot.
Yeah.
By one particular candidate. So, but anyway, let's go back to the phone line here this morning at 485-9191. Hey, caller, good morning.
Hey, Rob, how you guys doing this morning?
Hey, Chick, what's up?
Oh, everything's good. Listen, now you talk about fairness. Let's talk about absolute fairness here now. Also now, and I can appreciate if it was consistent with, but now I believe in the primaries. And by the way, I'm glad to hear that these candidates are coming on. And I'm making no secrets about I was a candidate for Justice Court Judge in District 1, and I was beat in the primary by Coach Jesse Hill Jr., and I pledged my support to him even before the primary was over if he were to get the nomination on the Democrat side. And I have been consistent with continuing with my support. I do, and I encourage all those who voted for me in the primaries to consider voting for Coach Jesse Hill Jr. as Justice Court Judge, District 1. Fine young man, and he's quite Rob, I was so embarrassed after I ran against him. I said, man, if I'd known that his credentials were what they were, I would never run against this young man. I mean, he's just impressive, and I believe he'll make a great Justice Court judge. But Justice Court judge. But now, let me ask you. Now, Rick Roberts, I think he was invited.
Yes, he was. I invited him 7 different times.
Okay. Now, did we make light of the fact that he didn't come? Did he refuse? Or how did that happen? Because I did.
We never received one phone call return, never received one email return or anything like that. And like I said, I'll give Mr. Gerald a lot of credit here. At least he did respond and say I declined. So yeah.
So that's what I was looking for. So did we publicize the fact that Rick didn't? I mean, because it's their prerogative now. You understand?
Oh, I understand that. Yeah.
And we were not making light of Mr. Johnson at all. It was just that the wording of it, I would think he would want to, There's some, again, social media pops up. There's so much falsehoods floating around anyway. Even before social media, you know how this stuff used to bounce around in barbershops and beauty shops and church,
absolutely.
Or after church, I should say.
Yeah.
Sometimes too in church.
while we were eating on the grounds.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an excellent opportunity for free to get your point across and to dispel any anything that's not accurate or whatever. I agree with that, and I would not ever refuse an opportunity to get free publicity. That's crazy to do that. I mean, I don't mean to call a person crazy, but that's just not wise to do that.
Sure.
And I know sometimes people think venues are uncomfortable, and people know that the program is slanted to the right when they listen. And but I've been up there several times. I have never found anything but hospitality and just courtesy. And I mean, in other words, you all don't beat up on your guests.
No.
You give them a chance to incriminate themselves and let the listeners. Now, the listeners might call in and do what they do, but you all have always been fair, from Roger all the way down to whomever when you're interviewing. Now, when you're doing your spills, you might appear to veer over too far to the right or whatever, but that's just you got to play to your demographic. I have no problem with that. But I just wanted to just make light of that. We want to be fair and put that out there that that Rick Roberts was invited, and I really think this is my opinion. I think he missed an excellent opportunity to get his message out. And, it's hard to come behind Ward Calhoun to do anything. Ward is just good at his job. He's just a people person, and and if you can get any type of a leg in, I'm not going to say leg up because it's hard to get a leg up on him. If you can get anything in that wouldn't cost you a whole lot of money when you vying for anything against Ward. If you're playing horseshoes, you take advantage of it.
That's right.
He's just that good at what he does. But look, I just wanted to throw that out there, and hey, I appreciate you all. I'm so glad. I can't wait to hear these candidates, and people should pay close attention and listen to the qualifications, and and I like I say, I'll be the first to admit, Jesse Hill Jr. Man, he out qualifies me by the tons, and I mean, I'm just elated that he is, the nominee on the Democrat side of the ticket for Justice Court judge. And I'm asking those who voted for me to vote for Coach Jesse Hill Jr. on November 7th. Thanks for letting me say that.
Absolutely. Appreciate you as always. Let's go ahead and join Fox News right now. No, that's not Biden smelling your hair. That's not if that'd be his theme song or not. Hungry Eyes.
He really got a hold of Netanyahu yesterday. Did you notice that?
Yeah, when he got off the short steps on the plane.
Yeah, that was.
He doesn't come off the big steps. He goes off the short steps.
That was a bro hug. I mean,
that was a bro hug.
That was
I mean, I'm all about hug, but I mean.
That's the kind of hug you give somebody to get out of parchment after being falsely accused and they've been in there 20 years.
I know, right?
I mean, he was, normally you do a sideways hug or a little bit of shoulder lean.
What's going on, man? You doing all right?
That's right, but this was yeah.
I love you, man.
Yeah, big time.
There you go. 601-485-9191. Let's thank our friends over at Martin Roofing. Oh, I am a satisfied customer like a lot of you folks are out there. And, well, let's go ahead and get the joke out of the way. They have as many signs out there, as a lot of the corner tenants did months ago. But I tell you what, the Martin family, good folks.
And unlike a lot of those signs, these folks, they mean what they say, right? And they're winners every time, and you're a winner every time you use them. I'm a satisfied customer as well. 2017, had a little bit of wind come through and borrowed part of my roof, right? And I called Doug, and the amazing, he actually answered the phone.
Yeah.
You know how rare it is to call any company and a live human biped answers the phone?
Can I help you, please?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. My name is Kenny,
Yeah.
And no, but I got Doug and talked to his staff and took great care of me. And again, I lament the fact that because I lost my entire roof, back in April, and still not in my house, by the way. I'm going to whine about that. Yeah, hoping November. But if you want roofing done right and you want it done with folks who've been doing it, going on 40 years, if you want it done with a locally owned and operated company, licensed right here in the state of Mississippi, and someone you can actually get on the phone and will sell you anything you do not need, you need to call Martin Roofing. Now, if you have a business as well, because they also do commercial. We hit the home stuff a lot, but they do commercial.
That's right.
And shingles and rubber. And if you want to take the best nap you've ever had or get the best night's sleep during a rainstorm, talk to them about a metal roof.
Ooh.
Those are still around. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. That noise is just extraordinary. They can come out and also inspect your roof. And quite often you feel like you need a roof. They'll come out and say, no, you don't really need one, right? Call me when you have a problem, right? And roofing damage as well. They can tell you what you need. They'll work with the insurance. It can be such a minefield, but it's not with Martin Roofing. So give them a call, 485-5920, 485-5920. Your home is an investment. The roof is such a big part of that. Leave it to the experts. Martin Roofing.
Of course, we've talked a little about Jordan Vandersloot. Of course, he was in federal court yesterday in Birmingham. We talked about the story yesterday and kind of set things up of what was going to happen in court, but we did not expect a confession that was unveiled yesterday. Vandersloot pleaded guilty Wednesday to extortion and wire fraud charges stemming from accepting money from the Holloway family in exchange for information about Natalie's death. Now, he did appear in federal court in Birmingham yesterday where he admitted to killing Natalie Holloway 18 years ago. According to the Holloway family, he also admitted to extorting money from the Holloway family. There was court documents that was obtained by a TV station over in Birmingham, WBRC, during the hearing and sentencing of Vandersloot. The documents they unveiled was a portion, it was a recorded confession of Vandersloot. And I figure we would just read it instead of playing it because it'll give you a lot more chills than just reading it, I think. But he was basically, he admitted to his attorney what he did. And I'm just going to kind of go back through some of this right here. He said, she asked to go to her hotel, but I was just trying to get dropped off a little bit further away from her hotel so she could walk back to her hotel and I might get a chance to be with her.
Right.
So you can kind of connect the dots right
Sure.
there. The attorney says, okay. Then Vandersloot says, that's what I was hoping for. And then his attorney says, okay, so what happens? He said, yeah, and Deepak drops me off at another place, a little right of the Marriott hotel known as the Fisherman's Huts. This place is not so far from, the next hotel is the Marriott, and the next hotel after that is another Marriott, which is a timeshare, and then it's the Holiday Inn. We then walk along the beach, and of course he says, what happens next? And then that's when things get pretty graphic here. That's the reason we waited till about a little after 8:30. Once we had a lot of the kids in school here.
Right.
He says, I find a space before we get to the Marriott Hotel where I lay her down. We lay down together in the sand, and we start kissing each other. I get her to kiss me again, and we start kissing each other, and I start feeling her up again, and she tells me no. And she tells me she doesn't want me to do what he was hoping to do, obviously. And he kept going anyway. And, of course, Natalie knees him in the crotch. And then he kicks her extremely hard in the face. And then he said that she was laying down, unconscious, possibly even dead, he thought, but definitely unconscious. And then next to him, there is a cinder block laying on the beach. And he took the cinder block and basically hit her in the face repeatedly and then disposed her body into the ocean, is what he admitted in the confession. The confession was actually recorded on October the 3rd of this year, and that's what came out of that, is he admitted that in court yesterday. So, of course, you've heard from the family on a lot of Fox News outlets, including here on WALT, is very graphic details. That's why we wanted to wait till this hour, a little later into the hour, to give you those in case you didn't hear exactly what was said in the confession, but very just blood-curdling details about what happened.
And this is, I think this is like confession 2 or 3, but it's the first time it's been, I think, to his attorney. And, you know, he's confessed allegedly to people in cells and things such as that. And there's some, and again, I follow the example of the family. Yeah. And the mother especially, I've seen a great deal of her on the media where she's talking about that she has closure now. She understands what happened. Unfortunately, she won't have the closure of laying her child to rest. You know, there's, you know, if you lose your wife, you're a widower. If you lose your husband, you're a widow. There's no word for losing a child. Right. So I follow the example of Natalie's parents and even my dad at the loss of my brother. But it's this piece of trash. You know, he's telling us he's doing this now because he's a born-again Christian. It's got nothing to do, I guess, with the sentencing recommendations or anything like that.
And remember, too, folks, this crime happened in Aruba. Right. They have a law in Aruba, a statute of limitations law, 12 years. So basically, nothing's going to happen with this in Aruba because of that law right there.
That's
but
right.
He did get 20 years here in the States yesterday for the extortion and wire fraud against the Holloway family. He's still serving a 28-year sentence in Peru for a 21-year-old girl that he killed. That's right. Back in 2012.
That if Aruba had actually investigated and
if they'd have done their job,
if they had given a damn about this instead of worrying about tourism, then they would have, maybe that second girl would have been alive. You know, looking at this guy, you can tell that he's not been told a lot. No. You know, and people say, well, you can't really blame his parents. You know, go back and investigate his dad's behavior as well.
Yeah.
And also the boat. You know, I put her in the ocean. He did not own a boat. He mentioned one name. You read that one name. You know, he had those two buddies.
Yeah, Deepak was one of them. Yeah.
Right. And so
he said he had the body in his arms and he walked out to the ocean. He said he was about waist deep in the ocean and kind of pushed her body off into the water, is what he said in the confession.
Okay. What about nighttime current and tide? See, that doesn't pass the smell test either. Yeah. You know, and I just and again, this is part of a plea deal where he's trying to extort money from the family of the young lady that he killed.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, as a Christian myself, if he's found the Lord, I didn't know he was missing. But if he's accepted Christ, then he will ask for forgiveness and live in repentance. But he needs to remember, you know, Galatians, I think it's the 6th or 5th chapter, you don't mock God. And this is someone that is, it's difficult for me to talk about because he really physically makes me ill. You know, he does. And just the way he, have you heard the audio of the confession?
I've not heard the audio. I've just read it. If I heard it, I might be like you right now. I'd be a little.
It's flippant. It's flippant, you know, and I'm doing this to get out of this, right? So I'm very happy for the family as much as you can be for something like this, and I'm following their lead. If they have reached closure on this, and then I'm so happy for them. This is a hole that will never be filled, you know. But I'm glad you. This has local, again, connotations.
It does.
And I'm glad you spent time on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I know it was graphic details on what happened, but it was a big news story yesterday because of the local tie-in with Dave Holloway, of course, local resident. So,
Sure.
But let's go back to the phone line here at Mornings in Meridian. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning. Do you have any idea where this confession took place?
The story I read, it just said it happened on October 3rd. Not sure where he confessed to his attorney because he was basically being interviewed by his attorney. But we do know the date, October 3rd, so I would assume he was still serving the time in Peru because he had just been put at the federal courthouse in Birmingham yesterday. So that I don't know where he did this at.
Well, and I assume that he okayed releasing it because of attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, I would assume so, yeah.
But let me say this, and I'll hang up. Nowhere should there be a statute of limitations on murder.
Absolutely.
Nowhere.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
And in most places, there's not. I mean, in many places, there's not. You're seeing that right now with cases involving civil rights issues. Especially the 64 murders of Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman.
Yeah.
And folks are like, well, it was so long ago, and they were different people back then. They've changed. I'm like, okay, if that was your brother, or son, or husband, or father, would you blow it off and say, nah, you're right, it's been a long time, right? And when all this happened, you remember a lot of the accusations that got thrown at the parents. Why did you let the daughter do this? And and once again, that is a side of humanity, as well. But again, if you just go back and look at this from the very beginning and watch the behavior of his father, this young man, perhaps if he had been told no earlier in his life, and maybe had a little more punishment, instead of a positive reinforcement that the world owes him something. I mean, she rebuffs him, and he is such a shallow loser that he can't take, and if they're alone on the beach, which again, I've got problems with this confession. I've got problems with some of the details. And, but if he's alone on the beach and she, tells him no, why react that way? I mean, we all know the code words. When a girl dumps you, you always tell your buddies, we mutually agreed to break up, right? Because you don't tell your buddies.
Yeah,
right?
we decided it was over with.
That's right.
Yeah.
So why take this drastic act if they were alone on the beach?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sorry, if he had waited out and waist deep water at the time of night he says this happened, they would have found her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he obviously had help. He went further out, right? I'm not going to point at the dad, but there are some people who do, And then he does it again.
Yeah.
He does it again.
A 21-year-old girl in Peru.
Yeah. He's not haunted by this act at all. He did it again.
Yeah.
That's
the scary part.
And here he's...
all of it's scary, but that's a pretty scary part of that. So.
And now he's finally given a confession, and this mea culpa is not because of a change of heart. It's because he's trying to work out a deal with the family of the young lady who he killed. Over money, trying to, so it's just, I can say I hope he's a Christian, and I can pray for him. Yeah, I can certainly pray for him. Yeah, absolutely. But and hope that he has found the Lord, and hope he can live in repentance. But there's not just a judgment, folks. There's a reckoning as well.
Absolutely. Got a couple comments here on Facebook from a topic we covered earlier, and that was about. Having the local politicians on the show. We did get a comment from Michelle Griffith Jordan. I have a way to post these now where folks can see them live here. Cool. She said, such a shame we couldn't have forums before primaries. And I agree, but we tried our best to get some of those rolling. And also, there's a very lengthy comment from Candace J. May there. She says, I think all elected officials should be involved in debating, whether it be on a local, state, or national level. That gives the people a good idea of how they handle certain situations and how they differ from the other candidates, which can be the deciding factor. Too many times we get people in office that you find out after the fact that they are not up to par for the job. It leads to the downfall of communities and states, and just look how our country is unraveling at the seams.
Well, yeah.
Couldn't have said it any better right there.
I can't find a lot of fault. And I think she means, I don't mean to put words in her mouth, but I think she means debates how we used to have them.
Yeah. The
ones we always hear are the Lincoln-Douglas debates for the Senate seat in 58. They had more than one of those, right?
Yeah.
and all throughout the state. And each guy would talk about 45 minutes, and then the other guy would talk 45 minutes. And then they would actually start talking to one another.
We can't get 45 seconds without them talking over each other.
That's right. And it's a canned answer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for that question. It's a great question, but let me...
Mike Pence, stop it!
We're going to take a break, and we'll come back and wrap up the show after this. All right, got just a few minutes left here on the program. Might sneak a phone call or two in there. 601-485-9191. Of course, Glenn Beck is on the way at 9, followed by Clay and Buck at 11. The great and angry Sean Hannity at 2 o'clock. And then, of course, my man Joe Pags on your drive home at 5.
Sean's never happy about anything.
I love that you were talking about Burt Young, who played Paulie.
Yeah, well, of course, we're playing a little bit more of some of the soundtrack from some of the movies because we lost Burt Young overnight. So,
and it's funny, there are two kinds of people there. They are, especially folks born after 1975. There are two kinds of people when it comes to working out.
Yeah.
Those who've worked out to Rocky music.
Yeah.
And those who lie and say they've never worked out to Rocky music.
Yeah, right.
Because every guy born after, absolutely they've worked out to that,
Yes, absolutely, man.
And Survivor was like, the Rocky, band, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Remember they gave us a Burning Heart in Rocky
from
4?
Rocky 4, yeah.
And they also gave us a song called Man Against the World. They wound up not using it. It's more like a little ballad,
Right.
But, Eye of the Tiger, man, and just, you would hear that music and you would just kind of, and you just couldn't help it, right? And I want you to imagine me, okay?
Okay.
140 pounds. About 40 of that was afro. Had a magnificent afro.
Magnificent.
Oh, Colin Kaepernick would look at my afro and go, man, that's a great afro.
Oh,
Toby."
boy.
Yeah. I'm in a yellow Datsun B210, 1981.
Yeah.
Tuba in the back with a hatchback.
Yeah.
And I would crank up on my little radio. I would crank up Eye of the Tiger.
I love it.
I was a BA, man. I was tough.
I love it. I love it.
No bass in that radio at all, the factory one, you know. And you know, just it's like helium. Yeah. But I was tough.
You were tough with your afro and everything.
That's right. It's a beautiful, magnificent afro.
A lot to unpack tomorrow on the program. Of course, it'll be a fun Friday. And don't forget, we're going to have a special guest on at 7:30 tomorrow. Alex from Trucker Supply will be stopping by to see us. Of course, they have their big vendor showcase coming up tomorrow. They're at Truckers at 519 Highway 19 South from 10 until 3. They're going to have some vendors there where you can take advantage of some show specials there on brands like Milwaukee, Knipex, and Streamlights. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. And it'll be a fun Friday tomorrow as well. So, but
We've always got a few things cooked up, don't we?
And also, too, we had a visit from our friends at Meridian Community College yesterday. Don't forget, they are having their Queen City Race for Life and Street Strut there on the campus on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock there at the track. They're going to have the 5K run and walk and 1 mile fun run. And, of course, they're going to honor breast cancer survivors with the Street Strut there. You can get more details over at meridiancc.edu/Street Strut. And they're also going to have a car show in conjunction with this. They're in the parking lot close to the gymnasium and the fitness center, and proceeds from that event will go back to the Anderson Cancer Benevolent Fund. So MCC always doing a lot of great stuff in the community. Of course, they had My College Cares earlier this week. They're having this event, and we got a lot of Halloween events coming up in the next couple of weeks. Football. It's busy.
It's busy, and we're so fortunate to have MCC. Not just because they're a conduit for some great students for us, but you're right, they are so deeply involved in the community. And it's Meridian's lucky. Meridian's lucky to have Meridian Community College, MSU Meridian. And so we're very fortunate. But, yeah, I tip my hat to them. They're involved in so many things.
And, of course, tomorrow we'll unpack as much as we want to on a fun Friday of the address tonight at 7 our time. President Biden will speak from the Oval Office, whether it's live or recorded, whatever it might be. It's still going to be an address. What are you expecting tonight? Pretty much what we've talked about this morning, the aid to Gaza and other things.
Yeah, I'm going to get some wild turkey and honey for medical reasons. And whenever I hear him say, don't, you know, that's his big phrase right now, right? You know, Mr. President, what do you say to those who might get involved? Don't. Don't, you know.
Because it's going to be interesting to see. You have the address tonight. How much is going to happen between now and then?
That's right.
In Israel.
That's right.
Between now and the address tonight. And also what's going to happen over in the House with the Speaker's race. We really didn't cover that a whole lot this morning, but that's a fiasco in itself.
It's embarrassing. It is really embarrassing.
Because they had a second vote yesterday, and Jordan got one less vote than he did.
That's right.
The first vote.
That's right.
So it's trending in the wrong direction now.
That's right.
So is there a solution anywhere in sight here?
No, the Democrats are just sitting back and watching Republicans destroy themselves. You know, I think they've forgotten they're the majority party. And so this is, you know, and at a time where we need a leader, you know, in the Republican Party, much less in the House, you know, there's some dangerous things going on right now. And we live in interesting times.
There we go. We live in interesting times.
That's right.
I just know when I saw the chair vacated, I was like, man, this is so historic. I said, we thought we'd never see this. But
That's right.
When you leave the window open for one guy,
that's right,
a Matt Gaetz, to make that happen, it could potentially happen, and dadgummit it did.
He looks just like a Vulcan from Star Trek. Next time you see him, look at him. He's Mr. Spock.
Spock.
Got the eyebrows and the forehead.
Folks, that's going to wrap up the show for today. Appreciate all you folks for always staying connected to us. Of course, Glenn Beck is on the way next, and let's do it again tomorrow.
I'll be here.
Let's do it.
Thanks.
We'll have a fun Friday, folks. Have a great day. And what do we always say? Buy local.